What up, guys? My name is Casey is Raw, and my co-host is AJ Raiders. And today we will be talking about the finale of Dark Side of the Ring. It is oh gosh, it is the world according to Marty Jannetty. So what's up, AJ?
Shit, same old. What's going on with you, buddy?
Ugh, tired, long day.
Yeah.
Uh, Israel saying, "Who's Jardy Manetti?"
Wait, we already got people in the chat? Oh, shit.
Yeah, we have. Well, let's go ahead. Well, we got AJ and Mikkel in the chat.
Yeah,
Then,
fuck you, Mikkel. We're going to war.
and then we have Costanza,
What's up, Costanza?
and then we have Israel Crowley.
What's
And
going on, Azrael Crowley?
oh,
What's up,
that,
Ghetto God?
oh shoot, that's GMTA. So, we know Monday Night Raw just ended. We're not going to talk about Monday Night Raw. This is not about Monday Night Raw. We got texts booing us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So today we're going to be talking about the final episode. We might veer off of the topic a little bit, but it's kind of like how the last review we did, we kind of veered off, but it was kind of still about it because it's kind of hard not to talk about WCW Bash at the Beach 2000 and not talk about the death of WCW. It's kind of hard not to talk about that because it's pretty much intertwined.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so like, I know you're not a big fan of the Solid Monster.
Who said that? I don't know him. I can't not be a fan of someone I don't know, Casey. Come on now. Don't be
Well,
putting words in my mouth
I
now.
okay, maybe I misunderstood, but um, even I'm a huge fan of him.
Yeah, you're a fucking mark.
Yeah, I listened to him for years. Um, and he even had a hard time staying on topic because, like I said, it's so hard to talk about the topic when it's so intertwined with the end of WCW.
Yeah.
So, uh, so I sent AJ the episode.
Speaking of that episode you sent me, that clip, that was somebody watching it. I literally had to go to Daily Motion to watch it.
My
Yeah.
bad. Well, usually I I buy the episode right off YouTube.
You two ain't
But
getting on my money.
it's $2. But usually, a lot of times when I look at the Dark Side of the Ring, I'm trying to get it, and a lot of times they'll have bootleg copies of the episodes on YouTube, like
Yeah.
full-fledged episodes.
Yeah, that's how I watched Bash at the Beach 2000. I watched it like 6 times on there, and then they took it off because it got too many views.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's Vice. I mean, I I I want to see them do good because I really enjoyed the series.
No, there's
Like,
only a couple episodes I enjoyed, like the Benoit one that was good, and Bash at the Beach 2000 was good. And to be honest with you, this one's pretty good too, even though I didn't really know that much about Marty Jannetty's fucking wrestling career, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't, like I said, I didn't really watch WWF in the late 80s, early 90s, so
oh,
I didn't really get to
I
see him. I mean, I seen him in WCW for that little small clip that they showed. I'm like, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Because that was 98.
I don't remember that, but that was probably just right before me because I started watching wrestling in 98. So 97, 98. Probably at that time, I would have not known who the hell Marty Jannetty was. So, let me ask you, what did you thought about the episode?
Overall, I thought it was really good. I mean, it literally showed like his old high school football coach, and then talking about how his career, how he was a football player, is a no hard edge nose tackle, for his high school, and then they were talking about his how his drug problem, and the women, and him and Sean, how he was getting Sean into the business, and he was working at the AWA, then they got kicked out of the WWF, and then they went to the Indies, then they
Yeah.
got back to the WWF. Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, they really didn't talk too much about AWA. They kind of like just barely
They
mentioned
glossed
it.
over it, but I mean,
Yeah.
you got to really pay attention to the episode. Like I was paying attention. That's why I watched it like 3 times to absorb it all. Yeah, that's what I do.
Well,
Like I have that comprehension. I got to make sure I get all of the knowledge, so I'm speaking facts on what I'm reviewing. You know what I mean?
and then as facts for this episode, it's very loosely, you could say facts. There's only a few
True.
things in this episode is true. Because, well, here's the kicker. We found out Marty Jannetty got a copy before it got aired. And his ex-girlfriend, wherever this woman that I guess he dated.
The one that they showed on Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah. The woman.
He said that, or they both said that they're like together.
Well, here's the kicker. I believe on X, the former Twitter. God, I hate not calling it Twitter because when you say X, people doesn't like. Do people actually think of Twitter when you hear X?
No, I think of Twitter as Twitter. That X shit is it's just a cover up.
But I heard that he went a day before and talked shit about her, saying that she is a delusional ex-girlfriend. So here's the kicker. The one thing I think this was a little bit misleading because she was saying that she was a big fan of Carrie Von Erich.
Yeah, I remember her saying that.
Yeah, and she said she was in middle school when she had a crush on Carrie Von Erich.
Mm-hmm.
And she said one day that she went to go watch a wrestling event because she wanted to see Carrie Von Erich, and then she saw Marty Jannetty, and they hooked up that night. So
yeah,
I feel there was some. I think it was a little bit misleading, but the way she said it sounds like he hooked up with a middle school kid. And that's pretty fucked up if that was real. But I think it's possibly that she was misleading that, but
he doesn't come off as a creeper.
He is partier. So, and you
can party all you want. I mean, dude, if you look at it back in the 80s, I mean, you got sex, drugs, and rock and roll was the fucking 80s. So, I mean,
but
I
it seems like it was all. God, I hate to talk about this because it's just creepy. But I feel like it was almost more okay back then. Even though, like, it's like I said, it makes my skin crawl talking about this. But I feel like I said, I feel like it was almost more acceptable when a celebrity did it, you know? But
yeah, but what can you really believe And I mean, yeah, this woman says she's known, you know, Marty for 40 years, right? But
Yeah.
like even what she was saying is you can't take everything he says seriously. Just like
Oh,
we don't know if we can take her seriously.
oh, definitely. I. If you had told me, like, showed me a picture of this, do you know who this woman is? I was like, no, I had no fucking clue.
Right.
And, but a lot of these wrestlers do have girlfriends in different states or even different towns all the time.
This is true. They need a place to sleep, there's a girl
Yeah.
that fucking, has a bed open, why not? Get
Hmm.
some fucking poo-tang and then, fucking dip set to the next town. I mean, that's how it was in the 80s.
And then, the wrestlers would use any way to save a buck.
Right. I mean, off the subject, but if you really look at it going back to the 80s, I mean, think about Guns N' Roses when they first got their break in Hollywood. They fucking went to strippers. They would go live with strippers and do drugs and then on stage and then go do more
Mhm.
drugs and sleep with more strippers at their houses or their apartments. Because strippers were very vulnerable. Same with the wrestling business. That's why they're called ring rats.
Yeah. Or like for the God, what was the group you
Hell,
were saying?
Guns N' Roses. I
Oh,
mean,
Gun N'
hell, look at.
Roses. That's
I
why
mean,
you have
hell, yeah.
groupies.
Yeah, but hell, look at what they were saying in the documentary for the Dark Side of the Ring that Sean and Marty would go to the bar, get fucked up, and then go to the hotel, and there's women lined up ready to go to Pound Town.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was it was definitely well known, and I wouldn't doubt it still today, where a lot of these women, hook up with the wrestlers. That's why they call them ring rats, because they're there and they're there to get fucked. I mean,
It's funny how my co-host says "fuck" because he's nervous to say it. He doesn't,
well,
he's shy. Casey's shy to say some certain
just
words.
it's. I feel like ring rats a little. eh,
It is what it is. They're
Yeah,
ring rats. They're there to get fucked and then kick the curb and then go on to the
exactly.
next one.
Tex says sadly. I guess that was not the perfect word, but gosh, so like we were saying that they very glossed over AWA. They didn't even really talk about his beginnings. Granted, it's a 45-minute episode,
Yeah,
so they couldn't put every little thing. They couldn't put his origin story, but they also didn't try to do that either. They
right.
com- they completely went a different route with this episode. I mean, probably because the guy is still alive and like
This is true.
instead of being dead. But sorry about that, guys. I got my dog running around the room,
His
so
humping dog is humping his leg. Duke is down, boy.
no, he's not right now. He's just running around. But so yeah, they glossed over AWA where they had um where he said he met up with Shawn Michaels, and that part was true. Where even Shawn Michaels said the same thing. Where that Marty Jannetty walked up to him, and he's like, "Do you know where Shawn Michaels is?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Shawn Michaels." But I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Yep.
that was one of the things I know. I guess it's true because both Shawn and Marty talked about that, but it's like that woman said, it's kind of hard to believe everything Marty says. What sadly he does not take any responsibility for his problems at all. He
Yeah.
he at one point blames God.
No, it's GOT. It's GAT.
No,
God's
well,
amusement
he's
toy.
blaming God though. where
Right.
he's calling got, or
Yeah.
gat, where he's saying GAT, where God's amusement toy, where
Interesting.
he was saying anytime he's having a bad time or something that goes wrong, that it was God messing with him, and God just gets a kick out of it. So I'm like, so he can't take no responsibility.
Called
So
accountability. No, he sounds like a woman. He doesn't want to take accountability for his actions
oh,
in life.
I
Well,
mean,
it's
men
true.
could do that too, though. So it's not just women. So it's a human thing. Let's just say that.
Call a spade a
Because,
spade, I guess.
well, I'm just saying I've seen people, everywhere where they won't take no accountability.
Not so strong society today.
But I might have to close the door. He's running around. So yeah, he just takes no responsibility, and then he tells all types of weird stories. But
I think
oh,
you would get along with him great, Casey.
oh hell no, I'm not. I'm not a partier at all, dude. I
I wasn't talking about the partier part.
I'm nowhere near uh close to what he is. I'm not a partier. I don't like go to the bars and stuff like that. I like to stay home or do my hobbies, wherever. But he's the exact opposite of me. I don't do drugs.
One
I
night in
very
Vegas, you'll have fun.
I've been in Vegas, so
Not with
but
your boys.
and I hardly ever drink. But no, tour capture, we just wanted to do this as like we said at the beginning. Raw, we're not talking about Raw. So oh gosh, trying to go back. So yeah, like how AJ said, like how they went from AWA to WWF on the show. Marty said they only last one day.
Yeah, that was their
So
first run.
yeah, but I mean, it varies from person to person to like one day apparently to like a couple weeks. So even varies to the reason why they got canned is the whole thing. They talked about this story on WWE's documentaries. It could have been the one with Shawn Michaels, but where they went to the bar and I think it's was it Jimmy Jack Funk or something, that he went to both Marty and Shawn. They're like trying to get him to go crazy, and apparently Jimmy Jack Funk started biting into glass. It's like, I heard you guys are partiers, and Shawn says we don't want to do that here. On the TV show, he said Marty Jannetty said he broke a glass wine, or wine glass
That was
on his
Shawn
head.
Michaels.
No, Marty was saying that Shawn broke
Oh,
a wine glass on his head, but
right.
I always heard it was a beer bottle.
Hmm.
I think breaking a wine glass over your head is a lot easier than beer bottle. But and then there's very stories about what happened afterwards. Shawn Michaels would say that nothing happened after that. Pretty much that he left the bar after he broke the beer bottle over his head. Well, Marty would say that they or Chris Jericho as not who was
Narrator.
the narrator saying that they tear up the whole bar, and you can see them doing wrestling moves like doing the elbow on the table, and oh, but that whole it's kind of hard to believe. I'm like I kind of almost lean more to Shawn Michaels, especially now he's more clean and he's more level-headed nowadays, while Marty Jannetty's just out there and crazy. I kind of almost lean to Shawn about that, but
Well, don't forget about the other part, Casey. That that Sean and Marty, when they were up and down the road, I guess that one girl that they were with, they were in a hotel room, and I guess sh- something went down, and Sean pushed Marty out of a window. It wasn't like too far
oh,
down.
that was in a hotel room.
Yeah, in a hotel room. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were having a fight.
Right.
But that was after that whole thing. That's when they came back to WWF.
Right.
But I just remembered that about one thing before even talking about AWA. It was crazy. He was talking about back in high school or something that he was doing like in science class or chemistry.
Oh yeah, don't mix the blue and orange chemicals together.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He mixes them and blows up the fucking the lab, the science lab.
Well, here's the kicker. They had a reenactment where there's this one woman was being blown away, but here's the kicker: Marty, who's the one who did it, he was only just sprayed with the chemicals. So how was he not blown away as the girl behind him? I guess. I mean,
Yeah, because he was like what, $1.50 at that time. He was a skinny, scrawny little guy. So I mean,
yeah. So it was like, but in the episode, it was so outrageous. But Vice loves to do these outrageous reenactments. Like,
of course.
during back when they were doing the Tell the Territories, every episode was about tearing someone's eyeball out of their head.
What?
And yes, if you go watch, every episode had an eyeball popping out of the head story. Every single one of them. And then a couple of them would show reenactment of that. So,
Wow.
and I think this was the most outrageous one when the chemical blast explosion where the girl just gets blown away. Like, come on.
That was pretty funny, I have to say.
It was just stupid. I couldn't. It's like I was like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, will he be blown away too?" Like he's the one who did it.
Right, he's just sitting there on his chemistry stool, just sitting there looking at shit, and it's like this one chick's getting blown away. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
And we couldn't get the right. I guess you don't want to tell them which chemicals to mix. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why couldn't he be more specific about that? But then again, you don't want people to like do something like that. So he's like, just names two different colors. But he can't be the first person who did that in that school. Come on, like,
right. I mean, this was the '70s after all. I mean,
yeah.
Let's be honest. A lot of people were dumber back then.
People are pretty dumb nowadays.
Oh yeah, I mean that's today's generation is just fucking retarded. They make Mikkel look smart, okay, and he's not very smart. And fuck Mikkel going head to head with us.
But it was kind of that was one thing. Then yeah, they did the whole thing. They left AWA to go to WWF. Gets fired. Uh, and then I think they said it was Continental Wrestling. So
Yep,
I think it could
Continental
have been.
Wrestling Association. It was a
I think
CWA.
that might have been Jerry Lawler's. Uh,
They were in Smoky Mountain Wrestling too. That's where they first started before AWA.
oh, really?
Yeah, I remember because I watched it 3 times. That good point. Good on that, dude. I was just about to say something about that because I remember that's what I left off with Smoky Mountain Wrestling because that was
Well,
their first promotional.
I remember watching the Shawn Michaels DVD, and like after they got fired with WWF, they went back to AWA as well, but they split their time up with Continental Wrestling and AWA in a different company. So it was like three of companies that they were splitting their time with, and
Right.
eventually, yeah, they go back to WWF and they finally have their full run. Um, didn't really talk about any about their run at all. I mean, here's
You
the
know who you forgot about talk about? You forgot about all the wrestlers that they had interviewing on the documentary.
well, there's some only a few known people like you had Brutus the Barber Beefcake with
Yeah,
his.
your favorite.
Well, yeah, that's true. That it
That's
is.
Casey. That is Casey's favorite wrestler besides Black Hogan. Is Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
But he had his big tit girlfriend or wife,
Mrs. Beefcake.
Mrs. Beefcake. Oh God, she's not bad looking for her age, but
Dude, she's like in her 50s or 60s. Are you kidding me? Those
I
tits are so fake.
I
Ain't
do
no
her.
fucking. Of course, because you're a sad, lonely fuck. I would
But
fuck anything.
then was trying to remember that it was a Pat Tanaka or something.
Yeah, Kantaka. Funny story about that is he fell asleep on the couch partying with Sean
Oh
and Marty, and Marty pulled out his pistol and started shooting everywhere in his hotel room to wake
no,
up Pat.
I think it was in his
It
apartment or
was,
something.
no, it was an apartment, a hotel room.
Well, the how they say it was that he shot through the wall, went into his bedroom and went through his window, his mirror, his but and then he shot his car through there too as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no,
well,
that chick, Mrs. Beefcake, did have fake boob implants because she said something about if Marty was there, she would have flashed the camera for her, but all she did was blow him a kiss and a wave. I guess Beefcake got all pissed off about that.
oh yeah, at the very end, he's like, I
Yeah,
wish
it's
Marty
like
was.
stay away from my wife.
Yeah, he's like he wishes to keep his hands off her. That yeah, I wouldn't want him around my woman at all. But um, well, we didn't even talk about when you see him. He's wheeled in a wheelchair because he has an ankle injuries. Actually, he had several, no, couple ankle injuries,
Dude, his
but
foot was blown up.
it was
Like it was
really.
infected. It was infected.
I don't know if it was infected. The wound wasn't fully healed though, because you could see where the scar was, and it wasn't fully healed.
He looked like Bullfrog. His foot looks like Bullfrog.
Well, his foot was just look horrible, and he said he can't wait for it to heal so they can put the joint back in. But I remember God, I'm trying to remember what episode. Oh, it was. I was listening to Bruce Pritchard's um episode of TNA,
Was it
and
something to wrestle with?
yeah, something to wrestle with. And Conrad would brought up a point where they were talking about, was it Jesse's, that one guy that broke his neck in the ring for TNA, and it was uh paralyzed for a little bit. But
I can't even
Con-
remember.
Conrad was talking about how what WWF did back then, and they talk about draws. They're like, well, WWE took very good care of draws, and they
Yeah,
did.
okay.
No, they did. I mean, gave him a job for years, and they eventually had a settlement. I mean, like the guy was. I remember watching. I mean, not watching, but be on the website, and then Draws would have his article that he would do, but he would be doing something for the company, and eventually had a settlement. I mean, but
Don't
I
forget, Casey, people are losing brain cells because of us, right?
no,
Our
but
review makes people lose brain cells.
then they brought up Conrad brought up about Marty Jannetty,
Right.
and I didn't know where he got this ankle injury. Apparently, I guess he twisted his ankle or really badly and
Yeah, it was
spiraled.
SummerSlam '96. I believe
I
so. When
heard.
that happened. Yeah, it was the New Rockers. It was him and Al Snow.
Well, Conrad would talk about like so today Marty Jannetty's walking on his ankle. I was like, what's WWE doing for them? Like how do we know WWE had anything related to this? Now I find out about that. Like, okay, yeah, but back then, I agree with Bruce Pritchard on this one. A lot of times, the wrestlers would hide their injury. They would hide their injuries from the promoter
Oh yeah, of
because
course they don't want to not work and not get paid. I mean, come on,
yeah. So I mean, nowadays anyone has a freaking turf toe.
guaranteed. But at the same time, nowadays they have guaranteed contracts. Back then they didn't have
Yeah,
guaranteed contracts unless you're in WCW. Then you had a guaranteed contract. But in WWF you didn't have that. So
no,
if you didn't work, you didn't get paid.
exactly. Unless you got horribly injured, and then
I still don't think you don't get paid.
you get
Well, look.
draws.
Uh, well, I mean, if you really think about it, like with Marty Jannetty, look what happened to him when Vince said to him and Sean, with the whole breakup of the Rockers, how he said Sean looked like was a star, and Marty, I
Okay.
don't know what to do with you.
Well, I mean, Sean did look like a star. I mean, gosh, even when the whole the barber shop. I mean, when they walk out, Marty really didn't look like a star, and you have Shawn Michaels dressed up in leather, and he looked like a star. And like, I mean, Marty Jannetty's very athletic. He's a good wrestler. He's
Mhm.
just he almost has it like where Roman Reigns kept on having the same thing forever, and it took him forever to break loose to where he is today.
Oh, you
He would
mean
have,
when he was in the Shield?
yeah, he would have the Shield's music. He would have the
Right.
Shield, literally down to the T for years and years. While both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins would have new get up, new music and everything, while Roman stayed as is, right?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is a lot of people once they break apart from their stable or tag team, a lot of them, especially like with Sean and Marty, they were together for 7 years. 300 days a year. I mean, of course, I mean it's really hard, especially it's like after the whole dispute, them not wanting to work together anymore. I mean, what
Well,
can you really say?
but I was just gonna bring up that he didn't reinvent himself because,
Well, yeah,
like, shoot, like when he became the new rocker, he was pretty much wearing the same fucking getup like he was before. I'm like, he didn't change at all. I mean,
right,
while Shawn Michaels was trying something different, and that's why he had the Heartbreak Kid look. He had the
right,
leathers and everything. He was trying something completely different. Or Marty Jannetty was just held into the rocker look. And
yeah.
when he came with the
Oh,
new,
go ahead. No, finish what you're gonna say. I have something to say on top of that.
but I was gonna say when they moved to the new rocker, like I said, he was wearing the same thing, and then when they moved on to WCW, he was almost wearing damn near the same getup.
Right.
So I'm like, he didn't change his look.
Nope.
But go ahead.
That's what happens. Well, what I was gonna say is, speaking on the whole, when they broke up, and Marty pretty much left WWE before he went to WCW, or maybe it was after. It was one of the two, but he had a dartboard with Shawn Michaels' picture on the dartboard. He kept throwing darts at Shawn to hit him in every spot because he was
Mm,
that pissed off at him.
well, how they made it sound, if you would hear, like, because they'll be like right after WCW, then he didn't really do nothing. And from WCW, that was 98. And he makes his one appearance in 2005, I believe, with the whole
Oh
where,
yeah, the reunion, the Rockers reunion.
yeah, the Rockers reunion. And that was when it was Shawn Michaels going to go against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
the chat has said they lost 3.5 brain cells by watching this.
did they? I'm sorry. I mean, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. But oh gosh. But they made it almost sound like the second after WCW he did that, like where he went to Shawn Michaels calls him up. Well, no, let's go back a little bit. The whole
Yeah, you're
dartboard.
getting way far ahead of us there, Casey.
Yeah, right after the dartboard thing, they were saying that uh, they said years later he wanted to take so much cocaine that he wanted to blow up his heart.
Right.
And he was like, well, God, I'm pretty freaking dumb. I need a sign. If you don't want me to off myself, I need a good sign because make it obvious. And then that's when Shawn Michaels calls him to go to church. And this part right here is true because Shawn Michaels did call him to take him to this athlete's church. And
He
after
was
a
pretty
few
much
days,
saving him, pretty much
yeah, he saved him because he baptized Marty Jannetty at,
himself.
yeah, himself. So, um, and then right after they did that, then they went into the rocker reunion, and then he says that like he had a good match there, then he had a good match on SmackDown with Kurt Angle, and then
Wait, hold on. You're jumping the shark here, buddy. After
no,
the
that's
Yeah,
right.
no. What I heard was on the documentary it said literally the week after the Rockers event, they were going to Vince was going to give him a contract, and a
Yeah,
week later he ends up in fucking jail.
yeah.
How the hell do you end up in fucking jail after literally getting a contract for $1 million from the WWE?
No,
I'm sorry, you can't keep yourself fucking clean that much.
Well, exactly. I think it was a DUI. I think that's
No,
what.
come on, man.
I think that's what it was. I think it was a DUI. So, so that's why he got in trouble. He got in jail, and then that's when it kind of like veered off from there. Here's what happened after that. A year later, they rehired him, and uh, they were doing the whole thing again. This was when it was Shawn Michaels was going to take on Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 22,
Yep.
and they brought Marty Jannetty back to do his. Uh, Vince wanted Marty Jannetty to kiss his ass to save his job, and I guess Marty laughed or something. But and then uh, the whole thing from the year prior got him in trouble again, where it was just impossible for him to continue working, so they fired him again. So after that, they never rehired him again. After that, I think that was in 2006. But I remember like they kept on rehiring him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yes, he had that great match with Kurt Angle. I'm not a big fan of tag team matches, and especially when it goes beyond the two teams. Let's say when it's becoming more multiple, like 6-man, 8-man tag teams, I lose interest. But so I didn't really care about the tag team match, but he did have a great match with Kurt Angle. And he showed life that he could have made one last run, but he fucked it up and went to jail. But pretty much after they talked about that part where he fucked up in 2005, then they just went into a bunch of stories that you don't know if it's true or not. I know, gosh, try to remember. Know one of them. They were saying about a bunch of Twitter stories. It was like with. I remember the one where he wanted to fuck this one girl that he wasn't sure it was his daughter or not, but um, but then on the episode he was saying that he was hacked. I'm like, come on, like of course he's gonna say he's hacked if it's something he probably was thinking of some bullshit to stir the pot, and he's like, oh. I got caught on this one, so I'm gonna say I got hacked. I'm gonna call bullshit on that one. I mean, people do get hacked, but just to say that, I mean, yeah, big companies do get hacked too, where they'll say stupid shit, but people would know automatically. Like, let's say if Sony would say, "Go fuck yourself, people," you're gonna know. Someone hacked Sony's Twitter, right?
Right.
But they were saying on his Twitter, he was saying a bunch of crazy stuff, a bunch of crazy stories. And then they talk about how he had that his first time that he made a man disappeared.
Oh, that situation. You care to talk about that?
Yeah, oh, definitely. We gotta talk about that.
Okay. So I guess he was 13 and he was going to buy some weed from
Yeah.
behind of a bowling alley, and I guess his drug dealer grabbed him by his crotch and tried to pull down his pants, and I guess he ran away and he got tackled by the drug dealer, and then he supposedly in Minecraft, because this is what I'm saying. You and him would get along great, because hypothetically speaking, and then you in Minecraft, you know what I mean? He grabbed a rock and hit him in the head or in the temple and killed him, supposedly in Minecraft.
Well, here's the thing. That's funny you brought that up because he totally stole Tex's gimmick about that, where when we're just screwing around, I'm making up some bullshit, talking about some crazy stuff, and he would say, "Oh, just say in Minecraft." So they Marty Jannetty 100% stole this.
They
Is
stole
that
your gimmick?
they stole Texas gimmick because they were saying, well, it was a storyline. This was a wrestling storyline that we were talking about here. Oh yeah, he killed someone when he was trying. Someone was trying to molest him at the age 13, but that's a storyline. He was 100% set because he's like every once in a while they would stop and say, "Yeah, it's a wrestling storyline." See, Tex even says he's gonna sue for gimmick infringement. We got a new guy in the chat, Joe Johnson. What's
Oh yeah,
up?
He's over at McKell's. I put out a hit on McKell on his channel. And I gave everybody the link to come over here instead. No, McKell, no. You come up against us live. That's what's gonna happen. It happened before, and it'll happen again.
But they kept on. But he had a whole story about the whole thing. So let's talk about this a little bit. So
Okay.
I feel, let's say if that story was real, I think he would have been cleared because
Well, he was cleared. They even Columbus, Georgia said that there was no evidence proving that there was no body, there was nothing.
No, I'm just saying. Let's say it happened
In Minecraft, right?
Let's say it happened and they found the body and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think he would be cleared because I feel that that's in self-defense. If someone is trying to either sexual harass you and he's on top of you, pretty much assaulting you right there.
That's sexual assault, not sexual
Yeah, that's sexual assault. I feel like that's self-defense. So
right.
But as a kid, you're not going to know that. But their parents should have realized that, or whoever the person he called.
I think it was his dad, because if you really paid attention, it's weird that in his documentary, it said that his mom was very abusive and used to beat the hell out of him, and his dad loved him, but it was never around much.
Yeah.
That's weird, because usually it's the other way around. The mother's the loving one, and the dad, beats the hell out of him whenever the hell he gets the chance. You know what I mean? It's like the opposite. It's weird.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I feel that he would have been cleared for self-defense because when being sexual assaulted, I mean,
maybe his dad helped him, in Minecraft, take care of the body, because that's what it looked like. He ran to his parents.
He would say in the storyline. Let's be
in Minecraft.
No, he would say in storyline.
That's storyline.
That's what he said because he didn't want to get in trouble anymore because when he released that on Twitter, he got the police sent to his house. Yeah. So obviously he didn't want that to happen. Even I still think he should have been smart enough. The only thing I think they would have been charged if they did find a body is being being disclosing evidence and stuff like that. But
more like conspiracy, you think?
Yeah, but I got someone coming in. Let's say hi to Tex. Welcome, Tex.
Yeah. Casey, I'm suing you for the loss of brain cells. The damage you've done to me is tremendous. I went to go tie my shoes and I forgot how. I can't help
you. Tex, if you would listen to the episode, he 100% ripped you off because they're like, how they say if it would happen. I'm trying to pronounce
Well, to be fair,
What's the
I
word
didn't
you're
even
trying
come
to
up
say?
with that. Go ahead, AJ. Sorry.
What's the word you're trying to say, Casey? So I can help you.
Trying to
Come on, you can do it.
Is that what you're talking about?
what? Trying to the certain word that means if it really happened word. Like if it happened.
Hypothetical?
Yeah, I can't really pronounce
Hypothetical.
Yeah,
Hypothetical.
They would say that, and then in storyline, wrestling
In
storyline.
Minecraft.
Oh, that's
Well, to be fair, I didn't come up with that either. I've heard that on the internet 1,000 times from 1,000 people, but I'm
Yeah,
just
to be
for the
honest
sake
with
of
you,
it.
I thought Casey
Go ahead.
came up with that. I thought Casey came up with the Minecraft one
No,
because
I-
Minecraft.
No. Back whenever Casey was doing his punishments on Derailed, I'm the one who told him about that as a out for all his murderous spree of the old folks and whatnot. No, that was not of my making. I don't know. Like I said, that's just one of those things that's out there that you don't really remember where you heard it first, but it just exists. You know what I mean? So,
But let me ask.
But anyway, no, please continue with y'all's review. I had a few minutes and I wanted to hang out, so don't let me interrupt y'all's show.
Well, I did want to ask you a question. The whole thing with would if he happened to kill someone while being sexual assaulted, wouldn't that fall under self-defense?
Well, yeah. Well, before you get it, okay, there's a difference in murder and killing somebody. It's like, okay, how everybody says, oh, well, no, it's not. No,
Murdering and killing someone is the same thing.
Legally, it is two separate things. Murder is, I hate you. I'm going to come cut your head off with a chainsaw. You've done nothing to me, but I'm going to murder you. Killing somebody it can be anything from self-defense, which would actually be called justifiable homicide, which with this Marty Jannetty case, let's say this was real and some drug dealer grabbed his junk and he bashed him in the head or whatever you said. If that actually happened and it went to court, I would argue that was a justifiable homicide, because if any of us were put in that situation, the same thing's going to happen. If there's a big rock or a stick or whatever. But there's a difference in murder. Okay, murder is I'm planning to kill you because I don't like you. Killing somebody can be anything from we had a car wreck. You and me were working on the house and I dropped a hammer off the roof and it landed on top of your head and killed you. Technically, I killed you. So killing and murder are two totally separate things.
Or what I call when someone kills someone by a car? I call that a Sonny.
Or a Sonny, or it could be a Jeff Hardy, or didn't one of the Usos do it too? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Jay.
They haven't killed anyone yet.
But speaking of that, Casey, you were talking about the court. They had that incident with the Rockers and that one tag team that Marty broke the guy's neck, and they went to court for it.
Yeah,
they were trying to sue for $10 million, but the judge in Georgia ruled it for $24 million, and it was 90% WWF's fault, 5% of Marty Jannetty's fault, and then the 5% for the other guy's fault.
See, here's the thing. How they're going to say 5% on the other guy when he's the one?
Because he didn't learn how to fall correctly because he kept telling Marty, yeah, I know how to do this move. I know how to do this move. And then when it goes to that move, he didn't protect himself like all wrestlers are supposed to. Anytime you do a move, you use your hands. He didn't use his hands.
Oh, he also jumped up and dived down.
Yeah, he went head first into the mat, which you don't do.
But also, like, if he was partially in the fault, why did the price go up, not down?
Because it was the state of Georgia. They were going to make more money. And if you ever notice, when they said that trial went for 7 days, and then literally it took 20 minutes for 12 people to rule as a guilty.
Granted, that was Marty Jannetty when he said that. I'm not going to
Well, they showed the evidence, too, on the video when everybody saw it, because without the people that aren't wrestling fans saw that, they thought he did it purposely.
Yeah, 20 minutes? That's like damn near walking in there. It was like, hey, what do you guys think? Guilty, not guilty, 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 guilty,
Have
guilty.
you ever been on a jury before?
I have.
For anything?
No.
I have. I've been on the jury.
I have. Well, I've been on two, and I can't say what they were, but one was.
Me either. Jury's duty sucks.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know if I can. I don't know if you can. Oh, actually, I take that back. I think you can legally say after it's over you were on jury, but I'm still not going to incriminate myself either way.
Right.
But I've been on two. I was on one that was a guy. It was a traffic thing. It was stupid, and it took like none of us wanted to be there, so we just said guilty and went home. So whoever that guy is, my apologies.
You know what's funny? How you say that, Tex? Usually, when my philosophy, if I have to go to court and you're on the stand because you did something, you're automatically guilty in my book. I don't care.
No, come on.
Right. Well, no. For that one, it was he got pulled over for something, and it was a questionable thing, and it was more than like the guy wasn't going to get any jail time or anything. So like the minute we got back to the jury room, we're like, yeah, we're just going to string this SOB up. We're done. Yeah, guilty. Look, get us out of here so we can go home. But the second one that I did it wasn't a homicide, but it was like it was an assault between a man and a wife or something. I can't remember. But sometimes when you go into a jury, not all cases take 3 days to decide through. It just, it's one of those things.
But at 20 minutes to go in, like I'm saying, that's literally going in, say, all right, guys. Well, especially you had to divvy up how much the fault goes to, right? And they had to give the amount of damage. So, that's like almost like, all right, guys, if you think this person's guilty, raise your fucking hand.
A few months ago, there was it's probably still going on, but there was a court case here in Texas, and once again, this one's ongoing, and I know I can't reveal, but since all the lockdowns and stuff happened, the courts are still full from there's like a year's worth of trials that have yet to happen or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
So basically, what these two lawyers, one from each side, decided to do was get a panel of people who aren't attached to the case and kind of get what they thought, and they would pay everybody to do it. So hell yeah, I did. It was like 2 hours, and I got a couple $100. But a lot of times these court cases, it comes down to money. Is in the trial study that I did was basically the lawyers were looking for, is this case worth bringing before the judge, or is this just pay this guy to go away kind of thing? And that happens a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I just don't see 20 minutes, and then, like I'm saying,
maybe it was overwhelming evidence. We don't know.
Yeah.
Unless they showed all the evidence. Hell, I didn't watch the show. So.
Well, I'm just saying, that's pretty damn fast.
Right.
I think it's a lot. I think you might guessed at how much. I wouldn't doubt it was probably less than an hour. I would say I'd give that, because, like I said, you had to figure out who thinks he's guilty, and then let's say that automatically is done. Then you had to figure out, like I said, you had to figure out who's on the the percentage of fault, and then the price.
But that's what I just said, Casey. That's exactly what I just said. Like, they literally saw that evidence on the TV screen that the jurors saw, and they automatically put guilty. That's why they raised it from 10 million to 24 million. And then on top of it, Marty Jannetty and all the rest of the people that said that they were going to appeal it, and it still got ruled in the favor of the plaintiff or the defendant for it was the plaintiff, for $24 million. And WWE said that they had to or maybe it was Marty said that all his royalties got taken, most of it, from that incident. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, in wrestling, you have to make sure you're safe. I mean, it's just how it is.
Yeah, but I'm not going to take Marty Jannetty's word for it. I would have to hear it. I'm going to have to. Go ahead, Tex.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't watch I don't watch any. Well, I take that back. The only two that I've really watched of these Dark Side of the Rings, I watched the Plane Ride from Hell because of the big controversies that came out of it. Where, once I saw what they were doing to my boy Ric Flair, I had to check it out. And then I watched the one on the Von Erichs, which I thought was okay. It was. I wouldn't call it fair to them because I kind of felt like they painted the Von Erichs worse than they actually were. But think about who we're talking to here. But the main thing that I've seen from these Dark Side of the Ring people, almost everybody in wrestling is a scumbag or a liar or full of crap. When you
that's why if you notice, Tex. Right, but look at it this way, Tex. Back in the old days of wrestling, before the WWF and all that shit, when it was in circuses,
carny.
It was a carny. That's why they looked at people that would go to the carnivals as fucking easy marks, because they would have the midway guys look and see how much these marks had. They would mark them to go to the fucking main attraction to give all their money to.
Well, think about it. Okay. Obviously, we've all heard the wrestling shoot interviews and the la-di-das and whatever, right? Like, we know these stories for the most part. We're not new fans here. So, something that I think would be very interesting to do, I could give a crap anymore. I'm not going to spend the time to do it. But go back and watch the Bash at the Beach from last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Then go back and listen to these same people talk about Bash at the Beach at some other interview they did and compare what they say. See how different it actually is.
This is true, because I watch Russo.
I would be willing to bet that their answers are either slightly to drastically different because they're just playing the game of telephone here. They're just telling it to somebody else, and they're going to make themselves sound good. I'll watch that. I'll watch that one on Bash at the Beach because after I watched y'all's review, I had to hear it. I was like, well, let me just check it out. I don't believe a word that Russo said.
See, the thing is,
I don't buy it.
All the story I heard from Russo for over 20, since he started telling the story, it's been the same. That's the one thing I would
he hasn't changed the subject. That's the one thing he's never changed anything. Now, Vince and Hogan, or Eric and Hogan, have.
Yeah.
Even Bubba the Love Sponge interview with Hogan and Bischoff the night after Bash at the Beach, after Nitro, literally is two different stories.
Well, it's just, and I don't want to take this too far out of not this episode of Dark Side of the Ring, but I just said what I did to kind of establish my point of, I think the majority of people in wrestling are either narcissistic liars or they're just crazy. They're going to say they're going to say whatever. And I didn't watch this Marty Jannetty thing. I have no urge. I'm not going to go out of my way. I don't care. But I think for the most part, they're full of crap. And they know they're full of crap. But they're going to spin this because some bunch of weirdo, commies from Vice are going to pay them a whole bunch of money to retell stories that they've told 100 times already. And the majority of their audience already knows these stories. They're just going to tell them again because somebody else is paying.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true. I mean, a lot of these stories on Marty Jannetty I never heard of. Like, I heard about the whole couple of the tweets he did, but I know there's a lot of the stories that's been known, but a lot of these I hadn't heard. But I'm like,
are there any good guys in wrestling? I wonder. You never hear about
there
any
isn't.
of the good people.
No, there isn't.
You never. I take that back. I take that back. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Sting fan, but the one person that I've once he got clean and sober, the minute Sting was clean and sober from that point on, I never heard anybody else ever say a bad word about him. Now prior to that, he was an addict. He was what he was, but after that getting sober moment in WCW, that's when I've never heard a bad word about Sting.
I've never heard of any bad words about Sting ever.
Ever since that too. But here's another one. I was not a big fan of this guy when I watched him, but Owen Hart was been told as being a real good guy. So,
well, that's because he didn't live long enough to do anything bad. That's the only reason. He went flat on the floor. So he's. Oh, I'm pretty sure if you go to that arena where he died, there's probably still a grease stain from where he went splat like a looney tune.
Oh.
Back out.
But like we're saying, we're going very too far off on the story. But
who cares? If they don't like it, they can not watch. That's how it works, people. If you don't like it, just go to hell. Bottom line. Casey's too nice to say it.
No, I'm not. I'm going to say it's funny. I mean, come on. I mean, if people can't take a freaking joke about that, like it's 20 plus years when it happened. Can we make it?
If anybody thinks that watching, obviously whoever left that comment has never watched your show before because all this show is veering off left and right with no warning whatsoever. It can just go to left field in 2 seconds. They've never watched, so their opinion does not matter. Nobody cares.
And I think a lot of people who does watch likes the way we do it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
we get the views.
We come on here to hang out. Normally we would be having this conversation not on YouTube, but because Casey wants to get the views from it, hey, we're here. So either you like it and enjoy it or go watch something else. We don't really care. Bye. I mean, that's the bottom line. Casey's just too nice of a guy to say it, so he needs me to come on here and be the ass for him, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
It's funny you said that because I've been told several times that I'm an asshole. I'm like,
you an asshole? No, you're the fucking goody two shoes over here.
No, I could be a dick if I want to be. Like if
okay. To be fair, Casey, you can be, but it takes a lot longer and a lot harder for you to be pushed to go off that cliff than it does me. So it is what it is.
I mean, hell, look at what I did to people on here. They're fucking gone now. I fucking chased them out of town. I mean, let's be real.
Either way, the point is Casey's providing you entertainment. If you don't like it, that's okay. We're not for everybody. Go watch somebody you do like. There's plenty of people on YouTube.
Go watch Mushmouth with his Raw review,
Yeah, go over there and watch Mikkel talk about whatever that you can, whatever. Either way, the dark side, like I said, I've made no bones about how I feel about Vice and their political leanings and what they do. I don't like these people. I think Vice is using wrestling as a crutch for easy views because they know wrestling fans like Casey and others. And I'm not saying Casey's an idiot or anything else.
Well,
but I think it's fair to say.
Call a spade a spade.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think wrestling fans are very easily entertained when it comes to the nostalgia. I mean, how many wrestling podcasts are out there that talk about the exact same thing every week? Hell, Conrad Thompson has 15 podcasts of his own talking about two different companies.
Dude,
You know what I'm saying?
he has like 20 shows on his
Right.
platform.
Well,
Like,
this is
yeah,
what I'm saying. You know, I mean, well, I guess not. I guess not easily. I think I'm gonna take that back. I don't think they're easily entertained. I think they're a very dedicated fan base that only wants to like wrestling. I think is more of an accurate statement. And they're, and I hate to use the term because it's oversaid, but they're an easy mark,
Yeah.
And
I've been saying that since day one. Everybody on this fucking the chats, I call them fucking marks. That's just how it is.
I know it's honestly, the word's old. I don't even use it. Whatever it is, but it's. I think Vice is using wrestling because it's an easy crutch to get some views for their dying channel because of who they are. I really and truly think that. If you go back and look at the beginnings of Vice, they were something much different until they got took over by these weirdo cultist leftists that made it into what it is. It's garbage. It's nothing but hit pieces now. They just want to expose stuff. You know what I'm saying?
All you see is they have a bunch of dark side of something, like the dark side of the economy. I mean,
dark side of 2000s, dark side of the 90s, fucking all that shit.
All they want to do, they have zero creativity, so they're just going to bring out negative nonsense to try to make some money off of it. That's all that it is.
They're pretty much trying to smear mud on people to make them look bad.
Well, you could almost say that Vice is exploiting wrestling and wrestling fans. You could almost
but wrestling's been exploited since like the early 90s. Hell, even the 80s.
No, I'm not saying they're the first ones to do it. I'm saying they're one of the worst ones to do it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's just I find it kind of entertaining, kind of especially like when they talk about the Chris Benoit episodes and where it was the first one was almost like about Eddie Guerrero, and then
that was a two-parter, so of course, I mean,
yeah.
Well, here's the problem though, and the wrestling stuff is just as bad as the conspiracy podcast, which I had one of my own. But here's the problem with both of those. You rarely get new information. So if you're doing a podcast, whether it's about 9/11 or Chris Benoit, there is a certain set of information.
Mm-hmm.
This is all that it is. This is all it's ever going to be. There's never going to be any light shed or any new light shed upon it here. So we're just going to present you the same information, the same. It's like selling you the same toy that you already have, but putting it in a different package. Is basically what they're doing.
It's kind of like how remember I would complain about the Batman toy will be
exactly right. They're just
like instead of being
painting Batman in a different suit. Exactly right.
Yeah, they got a hook, line, and sinker as a mark.
He'd be in a gold suit or a blue camouflage.
Well, it's just like so in case you tell one, I'll tell one on me. If you go buy the Halloween 2018 Michael Myers figure from NECA, okay, you go buy the Halloween Kills, which is a sequel to that movie. Do you know the only difference in those two action figures? The packaging and a different head sculpt. It's the only two differences. Same body, a couple different accessories are different. Instead of a tombstone, you get the mask and something else. They're coming out with the Halloween Ends figure. You want to guess what the only difference is in that? A different head sculpt and a different packaging. And guess what? People are going to buy it. This is the way that it is.
And there's going to be people that just keep it in the package. But I'm guilty of that though too, especially nowadays. Like,
How many copies of Mario do you own that's the same game on different platforms?
well, I mean, there's variants. So
That's my
I
point. Just, the action figure is just a variant of just like the video game, just like this Vice wrestling stuff. Vice is taking old wrestling stories, and this is what I find so funny with Vice is if anybody wanted to hear these wrestling stories, just go on YouTube. It is already been told on there for free a
a
thousand
million
different
times.
times. But you're going to pay to get the Vice YouTube, or not YouTube, but the Vice television channel or streaming or whatever they're on to watch their version of it, which is probably a watered down product. That's
And you
all
gotta
that it
remember,
is.
it's not only it's watered. Well, I wouldn't say watered down, but it's definitely time crunch because I mean it
Right.
is for a TV show, and it's supposed to be an hour show, but because commercials, you had to cut like 15 minutes out of the show.
Right.
So
I mean, just go through, let's say you wanted the history of WCW, right? Realistically, you could go listen to Tony Schiavone's and Eric Bischoff's podcast. They've done hundreds of episodes, hundreds of hours of content, and you could find out everything. But instead, Vice is going to sell you Bash at the Beach 2000, where they talk to 5 different people for about 10 minutes apiece, and you got to try to put the story together. Which one's a better, more full content? You know what I mean?
well, I've been enjoying them, but
Oh, I'm not saying don't enjoy them, and if you like it, don't. I mean, I've said this to you since the beginning, Casey. If you enjoy it, don't let me discourage you. That's not my job, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm just looking at it from a different aspect. You know what I
no,
mean?
I understand that, and I
No.
I agree with your point where it is a hit piece, but that's what that's also called Dark Side of the Ring. I mean,
To me, it's just it's this dark side of is just as lowbrow as reality television. It takes you. You don't have to think. You don't have to put any effort into it. You just sit back and digest it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It doesn't make you think. It doesn't. It just. It's just. There's no creativity to the writing. The story's already been told. They're just retelling it. It's literally all that they're doing.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. Kind of funny.
there are some episodes like some people I never heard of. Like there was this one person called Johnny Canine, and he was part of WWF, early WWF, and
Right.
but uh, his story was pretty good. I mean, it's pretty nuts. But like, I'm not sure how
I have no
accurate.
clue
And
who that is.
I learned that Dark Side of the Ring has a bad habit of not having accurate facts on
Well, of
their show.
course, because just like reality television, it's much better to have an interesting ending than a true ending. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's you know the to go back to the Von Erich episode. You know, they really didn't touch on. I mean, I'm in Von Erich country. My dad loved the Von Erichs. I showed y'all the program from whenever Kerry beat Ric Flair, where my dad went to Texas Stadium. That's his program sitting on my shelf. You know what I mean? It's a
you need to
there's
send
so
me a
much about.
picture of that. I was like, I don't remember seeing that.
I remember
Yeah,
it.
no. After we get off here, I'll take some more pictures of it and send them to you so you can go there and read it. It's pretty cool. I literally have the program from that tournament where Kerry beat Ric Flair or whatever. But yeah, no, it's there's so much about the Von Erichs that they could have done 6 episodes just on them, but they did it like you said, a 45-minute episode. Just in and out. Well, hang on a minute. I can actually show. Well, I'll send you pictures too, but I'll actually show pictures of it on here so people can see. They might be
Okay.
interested to see it since we're talking about it. Hang on, let me get my.
Well, I said the first episode of this season they could have split up Sonny and the Chris Condino episodes because I think they both could have been 2 episodes because Sonny is a wreck and the sad story about Chris Condino. Oh wow! Let me bring that up.
Yeah, bring that up so everybody can see.
That's actually pretty badass.
This is legit from the event. I mean, it's still got beer stains and God knows whatever else on it. But
that is badass. I wonder how much that goes for nowadays. Is that
I
like
have no clue.
Oh,
Is that what?
I thought for a second it must be so old. It looked like felt or something.
No, it's like pretty thick cardstock paper. I mean, it's a program.
That is pretty
But
bad.
It's all of the
There's Chris
wrestlers
Adams.
and yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. They even have the Freebirds in here too from that 6-man that they did with the Von Erichs.
We should go through it and who's still alive and who's all dead. Probably like 90% of them are dead.
Oh, I'm showing the Confederate flag on Casey's channel. He's gonna get
Oh
canceled.
no!
Sorry about that.
Well, it was nice to be on YouTube.
But yeah, I mean, it's got the full match card. It's got the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's it's cool. It's my old man got this in 8. Huh?
Is that Jake Roberts on the back?
No, that is Kelly Kiniski versus Johnny Mantle. I don't know who they are.
I thought that bottom one looked like Jake Roberts.
Yeah. No, this is something. If I ever get to meet Ric Flair, I'm gonna have him autograph it.
Oh,
this
hell
is
yeah.
one thing that I don't have a lot of wrestling stuff because I don't really care much anymore. But this is one piece that I'll never get rid of. You know what I mean?
Dude, you need to frame that thing.
Well, I'm waiting to frame it until I can possibly get it autographed. That's kind of what I'm waiting on. But
that
yeah, so
cool.
no, it's
Ric
cool.
Flair is pretty much the last guy on here to.
Well, realistically, I mean, I could get Ric Flair. I could get like the Von Erich boys. I know AJ had sent me some of their matches they're still doing.
Mm-hmm. MWL or MLW.
Michael Hayes is in here. He's still alive. I could get his autograph.
Yeah, true. But his other partner.
Other than that,
his other tag team partners are dead, though.
Yeah, right there's Michael Hayes. I could get his autograph right. It's all in reverse. Sorry. Yeah, I mean he's right here. You know what I mean?
That's pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it's in pretty good shape considering how old it is. I mean, it's a few stains on the front. Like I said, that's probably beer or nachos or something. All right here. God knows.
It almost looks like an age spot. You know how sometimes paper with age. That's why.
Yeah, it's from '86. So I mean.
Oh God.
No, 84. Sunday, May 6, 1984.
Okay, it looks like it's 6.
40 years old. That's almost 40 years old soon. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know how many of these exist to this day, but I mean that's a piece of history.
Oh, definitely. And that's something cool. That's pretty badass to see something like that. And that's why I kind of like the shows like also what WWE does on A&E where they go around and they try to con collectors out of their stuff. Because one, to get to see the item again, but then was cool when they had the first season of that. When I went to WrestleMania when they were in Dallas a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh, this is crazy. On sale at 6 locations around Texas Stadium. The song "Heaven Needs a Champion" in memory of David Von Erich. Also, David and the Poet, produced by Norman Johnson. A collector item for only $5. For more copies, mail a $5 check or $5 mail order to Temple Baptist. That's crazy. That's
You
cool.
should try that.
Send
Just
it
saying,
back
I wonder if I can still do that.
I wonder back then if it was easier.
It goes straight to WWE's pocket, and you don't ever
Probably.
see it again.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't. I mean, I haven't written a check in forever. I couldn't tell you the last time I wrote a check. But like, I'll just send them like a check so hot that it bounces to Oklahoma and see if I get one anyway.
Well, I was gonna say you send the check and then you cancel or you cancel the payment.
That's the
Right,
Casey way of life.
And so when you reach it, it's like, oh, you can't cash it anymore.
How much? Okay, Casey. When's the last time you went to a wrestling show? You went to WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, that was the last one. It was.
How much was the program there? Or did you buy one or anything?
I think Melissa might have. I didn't. I was.
'Cause
I think
this doesn't show. This doesn't show how much it's cost. I wish it was like there was a price tag on it somewhere.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt if it was like $20.
Well, hang on. I will show this. If anybody wants to join the Von Erich fan club,
Oh, let me bring
here's
that back.
the pay. Yeah, bring this back up here real quick.
Are we about the Docster?
Here's where you go. Just screenshot and you can fill this out and join the Von Erich fan club. I'm sure it's still active, but it's all good. For let's see what you get. As a charter member, you get the official membership card, a custom bumper sticker, an 8x10 autographed picture, and a newsletter for a year. And that is $10 whole. So if you have $10 to spend, you can join the Von Erich fan club and probably not get anything. But,
did
figure it out.
they autographed the bumper sticker?
Well, if you send them enough money, they'll probably sign your butt. But it says here you get an 8x10 autographed picture and a bumper sticker. So it's like both, but not either. I guess.
So we can only get Kevin Von Erich and his boys to sign it.
Well,
and Lacey Von Erich.
You can even get the fake Von Erich, Mike Von Erich, that showed up, there at the very end.
Is it Michael? No, I think Mike was. God, it was something Lance Von Erich.
Or was it Mike or Lance that was a fake Von Erich?
It was Lance. Lance was the fake Von Erich, and because he was the son of a fake Waldo Von Erich, too. I think. But
I don't know. It's all good.
You should call them up.
Well, yeah. To kind of tie out this season finale of Casey's history of wrestling, I'm going to show you a little bit of history of wrestling. So there you go.
Pretty freaking badass.
So don't know what it's worth. Maybe nothing. Maybe $1,000. I don't know. But hey, if you want to buy it for $1,000, I'll be happy to sell it to you. You just hit me up. So
I was going to offer you a price, but it was nowhere near $1,000. I was going to pay. I was going to pay what it had on there. I'll give you $5 for it.
You mean you won't even give me enough to join the Von Erich fan club? Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
Okay, I'll give you enough money to join but you have to get everything that promise in there, and then I'll buy it off you. Then you have to send it to me.
Maybe
But that,
I'll. Like I said, I will. I'm sure whoever's in charge of his fan club's either in the grave or in a nursing home right now.
yeah,
But we'll figure it out. So it's
they're
all good.
like, oh, we forgot about that. I'm like, I wonder if they just gave up or like, well, we're shutting down the Von Erich fan club.
Or
I'm
I
gonna,
don't know. But either way, Casey, to kind of get back on point here, because I don't want you getting any reviews of brain cell loss, whatever.
no,
What would you? What
no,
would
but
you?
there was
Okay,
really,
you watched the entire season of this, right?
yeah.
So what would you? Don't give me like a number because that can, Well, actually, no. Give me like a 1 out of 5. What would you rate this season as a whole?
Season as a whole, that's a little hard
Give
because
me like give me like 1 to 5 the season as a whole, and then what was your favorite and least favorite episode? I think that's
no,
a good way.
I would give it a 3.5, but I won't give it a 4, so I give it 3 point.
Okay.
Was it 7?
Okay.
And
So it was good, but it wasn't as great as it could have been.
exactly, there was a couple episodes that I was not happy. Mainly the first
Okay.
episode with Sunny and Chris Condino. I was really
You're just
disappointed.
mad that they didn't talk about her farting in a porno. That's all you're mad about.
I don't even remember if they even talked about the porno. If they did, they probably glossed right over it. But oh gosh, I don't know.
So what was your favorite episode?
I think the best one. There were some really good ones. I kind of like WCW one. That was a good one.
Back at the beach.
Yeah, Bash at the Beach. I think that was probably one of the best ones, but there were several right in the middle that I really enjoyed. Trying to remember some of them now, but I can't really.
So
think
AJ,
of
how many of these did you watch? How many of these did you watch this season?
Just the last two. This is the WCW one and this one.
Okay. Well, okay. So did you rank give me out of 5 for the WCW episode? What would you say?
I give it a 5. I'm a mark for WCW, so I'm gonna say 5.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of what I figured you were going to do, but I was still going to ask you this. So like you with your more limited viewing of the show, what was the low light of it for you?
You mean like the episode of it?
Well, no, I mean, since you only saw 2 episodes, what was like? Was there something that really brought that you just go, oh God, this is like what was the worst thing that you saw from those 2 episodes?
I mean, just being told the same shit over and over again, but at the same time, I mean, I know you're a big Bischoff mark. I understand that. So am I.
like Bischoff.
But Bischoff, he kind of did piss me off in that episode because, I mean, you didn't do the right thing, and Russo did actually do the right thing. Give him credit where it is. I mean, instead of giving Hogan the belt, you don't give Hogan the belt. Who fucking cares about Hogan? He's fucking past his prime. Who fucking cares? Let Booker T have the belt. Why the fuck not? That's what the whole $1 Million Club, Millionaires Club versus New Blood was about. They were trying to push the newer talent instead of the older talent that fucking no one gave a fuck about no more. That's what was one of the reasons why WCW died, was because they didn't push new stars and they kept bringing out the same bullshit over and over again. And look at WWF. They kept pushing out new stars. Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane, McFoley, fucking all these other ones. That's why we died, because we couldn't be in fucking now. We kept thinking of the 80s stars that people didn't really want to see anymore.
So for you, the best and the worst was in the same episode. I mean, considering you only watched 2, I get. I guess that's kind of fair.
I mean, the Marty Jannetty one was like something new to understand. I mean, I didn't grow up Rockers fan. I mean, out of the two, like the Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, I was more of a Shawn Michaels fan because of DX and the early DX, not Casey's DX Army bullshit with X Pac,
Road Dogg, and the Outlaws.
China, and Rick Rude. That's it. No,
Well,
I said New Age Outlaws.
okay. Well, as for me, I didn't like. They kind of hyped. They talked too much about the bullshit that Marty Jannetty made up a bunch of stories, and they went on so long about that alleged killing, like, and to the point where I still think, like, I mean, if anything, what they did wrong was, I guess, they would have been charged is disposing the body, I guess, getting rid of evidence or disposing of evidence, because they dumping the body in the river instead of calling the police and say, hey, this is what happened. Yeah, the kid's going to be scared at 13 years old. Is that,
it begs a lot of questions. I mean, okay, if this happened, which I don't buy that it happened. How does a 13-year-old kid get a grown man's body to the river without anybody?
Well, he had his dad. He had his dad's help. They quote unquote in the show, the kid grabbed the arms and the dad grabbed the legs and they threw him in the water, and then let it flow downstream.
Well, they didn't say his dad. They said a relative.
It was his dad. I mean, let's be honest. It was an older man.
Which river this was?
Yeah, the Kaneohe River.
It was behind this bowling alley that.
But it was a lake right behind it. It was called the Kaneohe or something like that river.
Unless they gave him some concrete shoes or something, odds are somebody would have found the corpse. Is my point.
Right.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like.
But they went to look and there was nothing there.
They were saying there was no evidence of anything because there was no body, there was no reporting of missing person that describes this person. So it was but
so.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because Marty put that on Twitter, he had the cops come over and, they had to talk to him about the whole thing because he posted that on Twitter. Like, well, look, I know a lot of times people get banned on Twitter for saying the craziest, or not even the craziest thing, the most minor things, but people would say something like, I made a person disappear, and they would leave that on Twitter.
What if he was just doing a look? Okay, if Marty Jannetty was a magician and he said, I made somebody disappear, everybody pays money and yay, you did magic. But if you make somebody disappear as a wrestler, then you get the cops call out. That sounds very racist to me. That's all.
What about YouTubers? What about YouTubers? Because I mean, let's be honest. Casey is notorious for killing Betty White. He hasn't had the cops called on him.
Right.
Allegedly. Actually, you know what? It's no longer allegedly. I was found innocent. So
you were not found innocent. You were guilty as charged.
Hang on. No, that's not accurate. Casey doesn't make people disappear. Casey is notorious for, hey, does this rag smell funny? And then, ooh, and then that's what Casey is notorious for.
And Casey likes to fuck dead corpses as well.
Hey,
not my fault.
As long as you're still warm, it's okay.
No, he likes
you
them
just gotta
cold.
warm them up first.
He likes cold. He likes them cold like his burgers.
When they're cold, they get brittle and things break off, and it's a mess. You gotta get them while they're
Oh,
warm.
this
You know what I'm saying?
motherfucker! Let me tell you, he's sending me some fucked up video clips every single day. Okay, Casey, you don't need to get into it.
Who? Me?
Yeah, you.
Me?
I have document. I have documents.
You got clips?
Yeah, I got clips. I wish I could say. I wish I could save these and just play them. They're fucking hilarious.
Adrian's got more clips than TSS had on the derailed YouTube clips.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, okay, so obviously, y'all talked about this season. So, if there's another season, what are some stories y'all would like to see?
Oh, I have a big one. I want to do this kind of like have an idea or have throw an idea about this. But the biggest one I think they have to do is when Stone Cold walks out on the WWF or WWE. And I'm not talking just about that, about the whole thing behind that, where he beats up Deborah, and to the point where he went on he ran away from the police, and WWE slaps a gag order on Deborah so they don't talk. She can't talk anything about it. That's the biggest thing I have to go with.
That would be an interesting. That would be one. I've never heard anything about that. Well, I mean, I've heard that it happened, but I don't know anything about the actual court case. You know what I mean?
Well, I
gotta stop and say something. Nani, Casey can't even take accountability for himself.
Well, I believe she's watching from beginning because she's saying,
yeah. Casey is a mentally 5-year-old, just like Mikkel is mentally like 2 or 3. They can't take accountability for themselves.
Isn't that true? I feel I'm more of a man that if I feel like I did wrong, I'll take accountability and I'll apologize.
What's the definition of accountability?
Taking responsibility for it.
So, all right, we've heard Casey's wish list. AJ, what's a topic that they would cover that you would just go like, oh my god, I have to watch this episode? Like, what topic just leave it within WCW because I know that's where you're going to go. So, what topic within WCW would you like to hear them?
Finger poke of doom.
Oh God, I don't think there's enough in that.
Wouldn't that be a little too similar to Bash at the Beach though? I mean, it's the same.
It's still an incident. It's a nail. It's still the nail in the coffin for the company. I mean, that's one of them. You literally took a shit literally on the. Casey kicks himself out of his own fucking thing. They literally fucking shit on the WCW Nitro mat by poking Kevin Nash with a fucking finger. Hogan pokes him. Like, seriously? And then not on top of it, they go and fucking tell everybody, oh yeah, Mick Foley once wrestled here is going to win their World Heavyweight Championship. You don't do that.
I know this one would never get made, and it wouldn't be nearly as exciting as Finger Poke of Doom or anything else. But one that would get my attention is, and I know the story's been told. That's the whole point that I talked about earlier. Literally, all of these stories have already been told. I would watch one about Ted Turner getting screwed out of TNT.
Yes. AOL time, but they already did that. They already did that though, Tex. True Hollywood show. Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's the True Hollywood story. Back in the early 2000s, they made it.
If they're going to do it, a Dark Side of the Ring with the wrestling paper, I would watch one where not just Ted Turner losing WTNT, or not just the end of WCW, but wrap it all up into a whole, make it like a 2.5 hour, kind of like the Chris Benoit one was. Do like a
Yeah.
2 hours on um,
Ted
that.
Turner.
I think Ted Turner would be. He's the one person in wrestling. He's never going to get into the WWE Hall of Fame. He doesn't get talked about as much as there's a lot of.
Well, I got to stop you there, though, Tex. I got to stop you on that, though. Ted Turner right now, they can't even do that with him. He's so far gone, so senile. They can't do it. Like literally, I was talking to a couple of his representatives because I was trying to work. I was trying to get work with on his farm because he pays good money there, and dude, he's so gone. Like his kids and grandkids are now running all the estates. He's just sitting there in his.
I'm not saying that you get Ted Turner on there himself. I'm talking like you could have Bischoff, you could have the TNT executives, you could get the high end people who were there in WCW that were in the know, the behind the scenes people.
Well, hell, if that's the case, get fucking Guy Evans on there with the Nitro Buck.
Right, that's another name. You get those people. I think you make for because it's not. Wrestling sucks. Wrestling is, to me, I mean, it's just me speaking. It's boring. The most interesting thing about wrestling is the behind the scenes stuff. That's what I want to know about. And I want to hear about the downfall from a different perspective. Like I said, you can go read the Nitro book. You can listen to the Bischoff podcast, the Shivani podcast, or whatever. But there's a lot of meat that they've never talked about, and this would be a good area to do it. You're doing an old topic from a different spin. You know what I mean? So it is.
Yeah, but the only problem is, again, without hearing it from the horse's mouth himself, you can't really do it.
Right.
Because what are you gonna do? What are you gonna talk to a fucking almost 90-year-old Ted Turner that fucking can't barely fucking talk? And I mean, what are you gonna say? You can't do anything. What they should have did was with that whole WCW documentary, they should have had him sit down. But Vince was so against having Ted on anything. Why would they?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot there that I think if you wanted to do it, the downfall of TNT and WCW. I think if I were if I were going to make one, that's the one I'd make.
I got another one that I was thinking about is like I think it's 2017, 2018, where the whole thing that was going on with TNA, where the whole thing with Dixie was losing control of her company, where she was not making payment for stuff. Billy Corgan sues her. They keep on changing the fucking name from it's no longer TNA. TNA is now dead to Impact Wrestling to GFW because
Global Force Wrestling.
Yeah, where they bring in Jeff Jarrett and bring Global Force Wrestling, where it's now GFW Impact, and then the whole thing with Jeff Jarrett gone drunk in Mexico, where they had to let him go, and then they didn't merge GFW completely with Impact, and they had to reverse back to Impact Wrestling. So that year with Impact, I think that would be a great episode. Like there's
a lot there. Like I said, like I said, I'm not a wrestling guy anymore. I don't even watch. I didn't watch. Let's see, what was the last one? SummerSlam or something. I didn't even watch that.
Yeah.
The only stuff that I get anymore is a clip on Twitter, this, that, or whatever. It's. I don't even know what wrestling really is anymore. I guess I grew out of it. I guess it's not. I don't think wrestling changed. I think it's me that did. I guess is a fair way to put it. I'm not really sure, but I don't have the urge to sit there and watch it for 2-3 hours no know what I mean? It's just, the little bit that I keep up with is, because I hang out with a bunch of wrestling fans, honestly.
I think it could be a little bit of both because, WCW had the cruiserweights, but that's what I feel like it was the evolution to what today's wrestling is, especially in AEW.
Yeah, it's not special anymore. Back in the WCW days, it was way different. They would start hot with the luchadors or the cruiserweights, and then keep going throughout the show to the main event with the main stars.
Well, even the luchadors, my favorite one was La Parca because he wasn't a luchador; he was just a Mexican wrestler. And
the original chairman.
He walked out in a skeleton costume, and he beat people with a chair. That was all that he did. He didn't do any.
Hold on, you got it wrong.
He didn't do any twists.
You got it wrong. He was guitar playing chairman.
Right.
Get it right.
Well, I forget which match it was, but I remember one where there was a match already going on. He walks out to the ring with a chair, gets in the ring, and just hits somebody with a chair, and then stands up on that chair and does like a weird dance on top of the chair. It was just.
I remember that.
Funny I don't remember who he hit, but it was just like the whole match stopped and nobody cared because he just beat this guy to death, and then the match was over. It is what it is. So, either way, so Casey, I do have to ask you, tomorrow night, are you going to be making up the less than serious from yesterday? That
was if he wants to, I told him I'll do it. The reason less than serious didn't happen, it was starting to get super late where, right now it's midnight, but yesterday it was heading to 10, and sometimes less than serious could be like 2 hours plus. And I was I was exhausted, I was tired, and going into work, I didn't work day, I did not want to do that. So I was like, because originally we were going to start at 9 o'clock my time. I was like, okay, we'll probably get it done around 11, maybe 12. I'm okay with that. But if we seem like we're heading to 1 o'clock, I'm like, I don't want to do that. It depends on the road. I mean, I'm down for it.
Well, this is. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's cutting out. I'm a bit laggy over here, so it's cutting out on me. But
I know one thing. StreamYard kicked me out at one point.
Yeah, it says I've got full signal and there's not a cloud in the sky, but it's laggy as crap tonight. I don't know. But, technology. There's nothing I can do about it. But I can't wait for your expert football picks tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to seeing, Casey's NFL breakdown of 2023 because he knows all the backups and who's trading who and who just got signed. And I'm sure Casey paid attention to who the former Cowboy that the New England Patriots signed today. And which Cowboy got a contract extension and upgrade today. I'm sure he paid attention to all of those things.
Oh, sure. I just before while I was watching Raw, sure.
Yeah, but, you were coming to ESPN and preparing yourself for all your football and stuff, right? Is that what you were doing?
My phone would go do.
Well, so since you're going to talk NFL on there, I'm gonna throw you a college football question since AJ and I are here. So the AP put out their preseason ranking for college football this year. What were your thoughts on how everything was ranked? Do you think it was fair? Was anybody at the wrong number? What were your thoughts on that? I'm
curious. I have to get back with you. I'm not.
All I have to say is go Dogs number one.
I have to get back with you on that, but I do have a prediction for who's going to win the Super Bowl, though.
All right.
You can take this to bank and, put.
Take it to the bank and head to Vegas. Write down what Casey says right now and go to Vegas. You'll make $1 trillion. You just wait.
That's right. The Cleveland Browns will win the Super Bowl. 100,
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, the top four TSS is it's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama is the top four.
Yeah. I think I don't see how Alabama was 3 this year. I really don't. I don't.
Actually, they are they should have been number 4.
I think Alabama's barely top 5, to be completely honest with you. I think Alabama's had their time in the sun. Nick Saban's on his retirement tour. I think this is the end for him. I got to be honest.
Yep. It's the come-ups for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Alabama Crimson Tide are down south not doing anything no more.
I mean, the SEC is changing. They're gaining a bunch of powerhouse teams. They're even talking about splitting it in. It's possible that the SEC could have 24 teams next year with all these people trying to join and whatever. It's nuts right now.
I'm pretty sure that the TU Hurricanes is going to win the.
Who?
You think Tulsa University is going to win?
Yeah, they're going to win the national championship this year.
Yeah, that's what they said about TCU. My dogs fucking rolled all
Tulsa
over.
University couldn't win a drinking contest, much less anything else.
Right.
It is.
Well, when they win the national championship, I'll be the last one left.
What, in 2050?
No, this year.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure they could even purchase tickets to the national championship, much less get to it. But it is what it is. But either way, like I said, I really enjoyed Casey's football talk. That might be my favorite thing of his that he does, because it's just so. To see that blank, almost autistic look that comes over his face when people start talking football, like he's like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm saying here, but somehow I got to say something funny." It's just so entertaining every time.
Well, I mean, when I've been not watching football, last year I watched 1.5 games, and that's not including the Super Bowl, because I did watch the Super Bowl. So,
you watched for the food advertisements. That was it. You were like, "Oh, I'm hungry."
So, okay, obviously, we're not doing a derailed league like we did last year, but we do have the league that we're doing. AJ, myself, TSS is there. Rose is there in it. Would you be willing to to talk about it on your channel? On like the Friday after or something, how everybody did the previous week. Could that be a segment on Friday?
I'd be down to do that. I think it'd be it was fun, but I feel like I want to give that spot up, but it would be hilarious to see.
Oh, well, no, there's 8 teams in the league right now. We can have a max of 12. So even if you did want to get in, there's still room for you, but it's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. But
I kind of want to sit back and see, did Mikkel join this year?
Yeah, Mikkel's in. Yeah.
See,
if you let that cripple in, your crippled ass has to get in. It's only
he doesn't
fair.
have to play if he don't.
It's
want
like
to.
a handicap.
If he don't want to play, it's. I'm not. I don't want. I want people who want to be there, because then they will invest and put effort into it. That's what I like about it.
And I don't.
TSS makes a good point though in the chat. Casey will predict that the LA Lakers will win the World Series. This is true. Casey has already put this money on Vegas. He has. It's true.
Well, what I was thinking, and like I said, this is why I'm running it by you, because I know Friday is Raw. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. I think a cool segment of the show would be, and this is a segment that I would be. I don't want to do every Friday is Raw. I have other stuff I'm doing, But the one segment that I would commit to is like a 30, 45-minute football section where we go over the previous week's fantasy football and give predictions for the upcoming Sunday games. That might be kind of fun if that's something you want on your channel. You know what I mean?
That's fine. I'm down for that. I still think,
So,
we should have a punishment for the loser for the league, though. I mean, we tried to do
okay.
that.
Well,
We
the
tried
problem
to do-
is
Go ahead.
when they don't do it, it's like, well, why did we even do this in the first place?
Yeah, that makes no point. I mean, come
You know
on,
what
look
I mean?
how long
It's
it took who was it, Steve Callan, to fucking shave his head on camera.
Well, he eventually did, but I mean,
Yeah, but how long did it take? It took 8 weeks after the Stanley Cup Finals happened.
Well, but then
Right.
also, Mikel 2 years ago, I think, was the loser of the league, and he wouldn't do his punishment, and everyone had a separate punishment too. So, like,
Well, I don't really care about punishments. Like I said, I love football. I'm so like I was like a kid watching the freaking preseason game Saturday night. I was like, I'm happy again. I mean, I'm sitting there with my old lady, and she's like, "What?" Are you? She sees me like I'm zoned out because I'm watching Cowboy football. I'm like, just get used to this because for the next 18 Sundays, I'm not available, and Saturdays. Like for the next 3 months, don't even talk to me on the weekends. I'm doing
Just wait
football.
until Valentine's. What you should have told her, Texas, just wait for Valentine's Day. That's what you should have
Well,
said.
I did. One thing I did tell her was I said, if we ever get married, we're not doing it in the fall because I'm not missing football. I'm telling you that right now. That's not going to happen. So you're going to have to do it during some other time.
yeah, some people they'll put it like, oh, it's going to be sometime in. Well, isn't the Super Bowl usually land in February? Like,
It's like
always in
February
February.
1st.
so someone's like, oh, we'll do it in February, and they're like, and then they find out Super Bowl lands on that day.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, in February, I have the Daytona 500 and football. So I'm busy that whole month. Don't even talk to me on Sundays. I'm busy. But but no, let's say it's. I thought it would be fun, something to bring over from Derailed to do in our own way over here, and it would be content for you. You know what I mean? And we could, we already have most of the people that are participating. I know Cora said she's going to join, so we may have 9. I'm trying to get 10, so I'm trying to get one more person. If you're interested, hit me up on Twitter at Gig'em1836, and we'll see if I can work you in or not. I don't want to get any strangers. I want it to be people that we all know. We've got TSS in there and a bunch of others. But, like I said, we'll figure it out.
I think my buddy Scott wants to join Hobo or Homeless Jim. You call him?
Oh, I would love to just beat the dog crap out of Hobo Jim in fantasy football.
Well, the problem is he has to steal data from McDonald's to play.
Yes, that's the thing. Is the McDonald's Wi-Fi good enough to even run a fantasy football team? I mean,
I don't think so. He might be on auto draft for the whole time.
Wait. How is a hobo charging a cell phone to even do fantasy football?
I mean, honestly, he steals a cell phone from one, and then he charges his cell phone at the same McDonald's too.
Oh, that's good. Either way, like I said, I think it would be cool because, like, let's say AJ and I were playing one another, we could come on here and get a little smack talk going, like we used to do on Sunday nights and whatever, right? I'm sure you remember that. So, it would be something fun.
I'd be down for that. I think that sounds like fun because it's kind of like how you said. Like, I always hate being in the league, especially being the commissioner, and I would have 1 or 2 people not playing, and they would.
What's this thing? Now I'm in the J-Man spot, so people are going to yell at me because the commissioner sucks. He don't know what he's doing. So now I'm in that position. But, it is what it is. So whatever.
Well, I honestly, I think I would trust your judgment a little bit better than J-Man. I mean, like,
Well,
I think
I haven't came to your house and attacked you multiple times, so I get some credit for that. You know what I'm saying? So
I guess my views would be skewed because of that too. So I mean, that's a great point.
right.
But I mean,
But yeah, so like I said, I think it'd be fun to because I know AJ and myself, we're both football fans, and we can kind of carry that segment, whatever. And it would just it would be topical stuff, like especially once Thursday night football gets going, you could talk. We could talk about the game that happened last, the day before,
yeah,
whatever. And it would be, it's football season. People are looking for football content.
Hold on, I gotta do a spoiler alert for people right now. The very first game of the season, Lions versus Kansas City Chiefs. I'm saying this right now, and people can call me out on it after it happens. The Lions are going to beat the shit out of the Chiefs. Right here, right now, I'm saying it.
Hang on. By what
Right at
score?
Arrowhead.
Give us a score.
I'm going to say 35-21 Lions. You could take that. You could take that out. Dude, this ain't the Lions that you think fucking of the past. This is a whole different ball game now.
You think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be held to 3 touchdowns against the Lions defense?
That defense is like, it's not that same defense, dude. They've got
you realize you're talking about and I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Cowboy guy. But you realize you think the Chiefs are going to get stomped out by 14 by the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Huh. And is this a regular season game or this is pre?
This is opening season.
This is the opening season.
This is the first game they play. This is I believe Sunday night.
So then, no. Preseason, anything can happen. Regular season, not chance in hell that
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, since I demanded a score from AJ, I'll throw one out there too. I'll go. I'm gonna go 28-14 Kansas City.
Well, I'm gonna predict that the Houston Oilers will beat the Kansas City or the Dallas Texans.
No. Yes, you should say the Dallas Texans. That's who they need to be. Okay, there you go. Yeah.
That's who I'm predicting.
I can't wait to go back to 1960 to watch that football game there at the Cotton Bowl. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be fun. So that's all good.
But
yeah, I don't know. What you gonna do?
I think we're gonna call it for tonight. As I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm down for that. That would give us at least a good topic for Fridays.
Well, yeah, it would be. Like I said, it doesn't have to be long. It can be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to take up the whole show. I don't want. I'm not. Huh?
Hey, if it's fun, I say let it go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. However long it goes, it goes. I'm not going to do the whole show on it if it, whatever it is, it is. But, it's topical. It's, we might could get others who, I know Frank does fantasy stuff. Frank's in our league. We might get, who knows who we might get on this. So we've got Deity, Rose, AJ, me, Mikkel, TSS, Kratos is there. Like I said, we've got 8 people so far, and we could have up to 4 more slots. And if like I said, I'm not going to let just anybody in. You'll have to, we'll see. But
we'll have to screen you.
Well, I want it to be people that we know, so it feels more personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I'm not discriminating because I don't like you. I just want it.
We are discriminating. We are discriminating. Call a spade a spade. If we don't know you, you're not fucking in.
See, this is why I'm the commissioner and it's my league and AJ just plays. So there's a difference right here. But
See,
it's all good.
I feel this
Sure,
league.
Tommy.
I feel this league is bullshit because didn't I think you call it the TFL? I assume
I did.
that's
Yeah.
I assume that's the Tex Football League.
And you would be correct, sir. What was I going to name it? The Casey Football League? No. It's mine. I name it as I please. If you don't like it, don't play. Bottom line. It's okay.
But I'm gonna call it for the night. I'm getting a little bit of headache and I gotta go to bed. So I appreciate everyone coming by. If
Here we
you
go.
want to shout out Frank real quick, we could do that.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun week on the channel. Tomorrow night, we're doing RoboCop. So make sure you're tuned in for that. And then Thursday, we're doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So a couple fun retro 80s films, and make sure you're there.
Well, you answered my question because I was going to say which RoboCop, the real one or the bullshit remake.
No.
There's only one.
The 80s classic that was filmed in Dallas, RoboCop. Yes, the first
That
one.
was based on my own fucking city. Yes.
And didn't they do a sequel of the remake though too? Or
No.
They did RoboCop 1 through 3. Then they did a one season of a television show that was horrible, just like what RoboCop 3 was. The only good actually, the remake of RoboCop is not bad. Actually, I think it's kind of underrated. To be honest with you, it's worth going back and watching it again. But no, we're doing the original RoboCop, from the 80s, and it'll be a fun review. So.
And then don't forget to go watch on the Peacock and watch RoboCop save Sting from the cage.
That would be Capital Combat 90.
Well, there you go. See, it's even a tie into the wrestling nerds to come watch our movie review because RoboCop saved my boy Sting. It's fine. It's all good. One good turn deserves another.
Thank God for RoboCop being real, saving Sting from that.
Well, we clearly saw him in that cage. So, we clearly saw it.
I didn't realize RoboCop was real until he showed up at WCW. So
there's proof. But yeah, no, let's see, RoboCop Tuesday and Killer Clowns Thursday. So 2 fun movies. They're both free on Tubi right now. You can go watch them ahead of time if you like, and come hang out.
Well, for Tex, AJ, I am Casey Israel, and thanks for watching, and we are out. See you guys.
Bye, bitches.